Hello and welcome to this very special Beardclipper video. Now, this has been in the works for quite a long time and I'm very excited to be presenting this to you now. I was asked a couple of years ago by Lachie from Zorp to take part in the community build he's been doing to create an awesome Minas Tirith board. I don't know if you've been watching his videos. If you haven't, you really should be, because it's coming on really well. And what he did was he asked a number of YouTubers to create a building that he would incorporate into his design. And I was flattered and honoured and pretty excited to be asked. And this video is the build video. Now it's going to be slightly different format because I need to keep it short because I need to tie in with the style of the other YouTubers. So I'm actually quite excited about the edit as well. I really hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And once you've watched this one, do go and watch all the other videos, which will be linked via the playlist link at the end of this video. So thank you so much for watching. Let's get making. Unusually for me, I started this build with a plan, and not just a plan, but I drew it out as well. With that decided, it was time to measure out and cut the 1 centimetre thick blue XPS for the walls. The dimensions were too large for the Proxon, so a safety ruler and blade came to hand. I then used the Shifting Lands angle tool, easy for me to say, to cut 45 degrees for each corner. My design for Beardclipper's hairdressers called for a covered walkway with 3 arches from the street, so I made a little template out of card and used it to ensure everything was the same size. With the inner wall created and an arch for a door cut into that, I had all the pieces to begin assembling. At this stage I did only pin it in place, but this allowed me to add an extra piece of XPS where I mismeasured my cut. That's typical. No Beardclipper video is complete without some stupid mistakes. I next clamped down the thin XPS I was using for the base, check the link above for my Never Warp Again video, and marked out the full size of the build, and then it was time to gather the materials for the upper floor and balcony. This was my final XPS cutting of the build. I'm just sat watching Sean Connolly, who you really should go and check out, who has just very randomly been watching one of my vlogs while he's hobbying, so I thought it'd be amusing to include this little clip. Bit of a hobby inception going on, YouTube inception going on. But the next step that I've got to do is all around bricks. So if we focus down on my cutting mat, I'll show you what I'm going for. So what we have here is the front piece, and this technique and the measurements and what have you that I'm going to show are what we use on all of it. So I'll show you this once and then I'll go and do the rest of it over the next however long it takes me, because I don't have very much time before I need to get back to work. Just doing this quickly on my lunch. So what we do is we're going to measure and mark at 1 centimetre intervals. You could do different if you want, but I'm doing it at 1 centimetre. So just get my measuring and get my ruler and just knock off with this sculpting tool at 1 centimetre intervals. And what I then do is mark the other end at 1 centimetre intervals. With those marked, I use this sculpting tool. I also have this biro, which I previously used a lot. It's a dead biro, it doesn't actually draw ink anymore, and I've reinforced it with a little bit of masking tape. So I do use that sometimes, but for this I'm using the sculpting tool, and all I'm doing is I'm just drawing straight lines all the way across here. And when you get to the top, you're going to be drawing all the way across. With the texture applied to the walls, I could begin gluing everything together. I always use dressmaker's pins to give it a bit more strength, particularly as you see with this floor. This is a stone building, so the balcony needed flagstones, and my Green Stuff World roller with air dry clay provided the perfect texture. Always remember that air dry clay is not sticky, so you need to apply a layer of glue, PVA in this case, below the clay to ensure it actually adheres correctly. The next step was to apply grout and sand as texture over all the walls. You can see my short video on how to mix this via the link above or in the description below. I painted this on with an old brush, making sure it was not obscuring any details, and then left it to dry fully. Once dry, I came back with white house paint and did multiple coats over the entire building, and I did use some other colours as well just to dirty it up a little bit so it's not completely glowing white, and I also painted the flagstones so everything was of the same colour, with a unified colour. My new at the time 3D printer came in handy to add some details that are beyond my skill at creating. Quinion from Quinion's Budget Crafts designed me some barber poles, while I found a fantastic bearded bust for Beardclipper. These were painted up with Vallejo paints. We're getting close to the final assembly now, and you can see that I've got two bases. I did make another of these buildings to keep for myself, though I have actually still not finished it. And I've clamped these down to prevent warping, and I've hand carved on some slabs and cobbles for the street. Now let's get to the detailing. I made doors out of balsa wood, carved in the texture, and painted them, then stuck them in place with PVA. My favourite detail to add was the advertising board for Pelennor Garden tomatoes. I had such fun making this, and it really does make me laugh more than it probably should. And Angela laughed at it as well, and I think that Lachie also enjoyed it. So yeah, that was a really nice little thing to add to this build. After that, it was the painstaking task of cutting out each of the letters for the old bank sign that would later on be painted over and mostly hidden. This is to give some history to the building. I do like telling a story. With all the details in place, I used gator glue to stick the building to the base, and while waiting for that to go off, I created a flat roof using cardboard and a printed sheet of tiles from Clever Models. Really recommend them. There's a few suppliers, but those roof tiles are really, really good. I used Pritt stick stolen from Rosie to glue the sheet onto the cardboard, then carefully cut it out with a safety ruler and sharp knife. It was then time to do some final tidying up of the edges where the walls met the base, stick the busts in place before a last-minute addition of some sandwich boards. You've got to advertise your hairdressers to those hard-working people and to the soldiers on the walls. And now the build is done. I packed it up very carefully and very excitedly, with lots of padding and even more gaffer tape, and then, after some drama trying to arrange postage, finally a nice man with a van came and collected the box and took it on its international trip. It did not take very long to get there. Well, there we are. What a fun build that was, and it was so awesome to be involved in such a great community project run by Lachie over at Zorp, but with people from all over the world getting involved and sending their creations to Lachie for this fantastic board that he's putting together. So please do go check out all the other videos. Please do let me know what you think in the comments below. I do reply to every single one, so don't be shy, do say hello, and maybe stick around and watch some other videos if you've enjoyed this one. I do put out quite regular videos, so it'd be really cool to see you join me if you're interested. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Lachie, for asking me to take part. And as always, please stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.